Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Kiddie Korner Media. And today I picked a book for older kids. Just to let you know, it's a graphic novel. There is some language and some violence, nothing too graphic. However, some of the language becomes hateful and stuff like that, but for the purpose of the story. And the graphic novel I picked for older kids is called Nubia Real One. And it's by McKinney and Robyn Smith. And if you're looking close enough, you can tell she's wearing a Wonder Woman shirt and she has bracelets like Wonder Woman because she is actually a DC character. Now, for those who are not comic book geeks like myself, that Nubia is traditionally known as a former warrior general from a kingdom in Africa who passes away. And like other Amazons, she's reborn. And when she's reborn on the same day as Wonder Woman. So they're often considered sisters, even twins. Uh, in twins. And eventually, she is a warrior too, with a lot of the same powers as Wonder Woman, though she has her own weaponry, but does have, as you can see, the bracelets. And in the normal comic book universe, she is, as I said before, a warrior who guarded um, a dimension, keeping the world safe from monsters coming through, and eventually takes over as queen of the Amazons. So she has quite a history. This, however, is a one off piece. And it takes Nubia as a teenager. She's 17 years old and she's living in a very modern day world. And the story goes that she is still born the same day as Wonder Woman. However, this time she's not a reincarnated warrior, but just like in Wonder Woman's origins, she's made out of clay by the same queen who creates Wonder Woman, and the gods bestow life upon her. However, for Nubia, she's kidnapped and put into suspended animation, and many, many years go by before she is found again by Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman, because she is been growing up outside of their schema, she cannot stay there with the other Amazons. So Wonder Woman sets her up with a family, sets her up with another Amazon who has decided to live her life in the normal world and with her wife and raise Nubia as their own. And so she is a modern day 16-year-old girl with a big secret. They're trying to protect her, so they keep her powers a secret. And right there is our first issue there. How can you be yourself? How can you do what's right when you have to also be quiet? You have to be silent. Keep your secrets, because they can be dangerous ones. There's so many more things to this story that just, I think, can spark wonderful conversations. They deal with the Black Lives Matters movement. They deal with misogyny. They deal with the fear that some kids do have and some adults do have of law enforcement. Whether you think that's right or wrong, there is fear out there. And it shows it through the perspective of a 17-year-old girl. She's trying to discover who she is, trying to discover the person she needs to be, who she wants to be. But she also wants to be a 17-year-old girl with friends, going to parties, spending time, maybe going on dates. Eventually, Wonder Woman does show up to have a nice talk with her and help her figure out, or at least start to think about, who she really wants to be. Now, in this story, there is also a school shooting. There is talk of abuse. domestic violence, as well as I said before, the fear of law enforcement. And when law enforcement maybe has the wrong information, at one point Nubia stops a robbery. And unfortunately, the cashier mistakes her as one of the robbers. And as a 17-year-old girl, she is stopped and arrested. She does not use her powers to resist. She sits there and she just is afraid of what's going to happen. Luckily, someone describes the robbers as two males, and she's let go, but that moment shakes her. It fills her with fear that a lot of people, a lot of kids go through. Unfortunately, it is a sad statistic that kids, especially kids of color, tend to be treated more like adults than other kids. They're not seen as the little ones that they really are, even at 17. I know our 17-year-olds probably think that they are grown, but they're still kids. And sometimes that's easy to forget. And as I said before, this book can spark a lot of wonderful debates, a lot of wonderful conversations. If you have a child of color, they can talk about their own fears, talk about your fears, talk about what to do during certain situations. If they are not children of color, well, they get a chance to see the perspective through someone else's eyes. And feel free to ask questions about it. And then when you come to the domestic violence, it shows you why things like this can just happen. And the underlining theme is the fear of retaliation, whether it is through a partner or someone who is pursuing you, whether it is through law enforcement, parents. It's a very deep, real fear. Something we can't ignore. And even if whatever side you are on, we can't deny someone's feelings. We can't say it's not true. A person's feelings is just feelings. It's not a debatable fact. We can't tell someone else how their emotions should go. We can talk about it. We can work through them together. I want to share this one beautiful part where Nubia is trying to figure out who she is and stops a school shooting because she wants to do what's right, but it means exposing her secret. And she does get hurt. She's not quite as invulnerable as Wonder Woman. And she's in the hospital. And she's talking to her friends. And they try to figure out what's going to be her superhero name and everything like this. And they finally realize that things are going to be different. But that's okay. I wasn't trying to be a hero. I just knew I was going after Keisha, and I had to stop him. People who try to be heroic seldom are. When you step up like that, it requires all of you. Defend the ones you love with your whole heart and every breath. That is the Amazon way. I think that's pretty strong right there. Because even with all of these hard things going on through her life and she's trying to figure it out, she still has support. She has love. And that's what we all need sometimes. So, if your older ones need a moment to really think about something different, think about the world, and also understand themselves a little better, I really do suggest this book. I hope you find the good read and pass on that positivity. Bye.